Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe. Today is a reset of the Charlie Kirk shooting. Now, I'm not going to go over every single thing, but I just want people to get back to reality. We are now seeing videos that are talking about his microphone that he had on his shirt was actually exploded or shot something at him. And we just keep hearing different theory after different theory, and they're not coming up with these theories because they actually believe it. They're coming up with these theories because they can keep creating more and more content. And have you noticed that some of these, quote, YouTube creators have come up with multiple theories, and why haven't they stuck with one? Why doesn't that one make sense to them? And that's because every single time they come up with a theory, it gets completely shredded and debunked, so they come up with a new one. Instead of just looking at what's right in front of them. Really simple stuff. So some of the stuff I'm going to talk about is new information, and some of it is just going over the information that we have and trying to figure out different locations, etc. So we have this clip here in the morning, and Candace Owens, who, it's hard to trust anything she says, said that at 8:06 in the morning, this guy's walking right here. All right, but we also know that at I think 9:58, he's walking right up here this direction. So I think it's more likely that that's that same video, and he's walking like this, and maybe he comes around, perhaps even cuts across over here somewhere, don't know, but eventually comes over here and walks over here, and I bet it's more likely 10:06 in the morning. And the reason I say that is law enforcement doesn't have any indication that he was there before 8:26 or 8:30 in the morning is what they say. And we also know that the vehicle spotted right here at 8:23 driving in this direction. So it's coming around the corner going like that. And you can see that here in the video. So this is what Candace Owens says is 8:06 in the morning. Could be, just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. It seems like that's a continuation of the other walk that actually has a camera on it. And here's that same footage again, just zoomed in. But see, he's got the maroon shirt, the olive green shorts. I don't know if he's got white socks on or his legs are just that white. A hat, glasses, and a backpack, and his shoes, the Chuck Taylors, it looks like. So he walks by, and then here is his vehicle driving by early in the morning at 8:26 or 8:23. And then right here, he's wearing exactly what he's wearing in the video that we just saw, but this one we have a time frame of 9:57. So I think that other video is a continuation of this walk right here. And here is that new video that we got recently from Chuck Keeler. And in this video, this is just leading up to the shooting of Charlie Kirk. So he's already got the rifle down his pants. He's wearing the backpack. He's wearing the hat. And you can see his right leg, he has to kind of swing forward. And it looks like he's using the backpack to maybe mask the bulge in the back of his shirt. So he walks down here. And then an SUV pulls up next to him, slowing down, and then keeps moving. And if you go over here, this sidewalk is red, so he was probably thinking of parking there and then realized, oh, I can't park there because the sidewalk is red, like a zone where you can't park, and drove by. It looked kind of interesting originally, but now it's not interesting at all. So you can see he's still right there in the right-hand side. Now he's walking across that street. And then we know he goes down another block or so and then turns left. And then we see him walking on that street coming up here. Let me just show you where that is on a map. So, all right, so what we just saw right there is Tyler Robinson's walking right here, stops here, and then he walks across, and then the video cuts out. And he comes down to this street right here, which is 800 West. And this one is 800 South. So this is 800 South, turns left onto 800 West, and we see him walking just right by these two cameras right here, okay? So we'll go back to that, play it again. And I'm just resetting this, you guys. I mean, this case to me is crystal clear. There's nothing confusing about it. The only thing that it seems to be that we're need an answer for is just sort of like the ballistics and what was going on where the bullet stuck in his neck. There isn't a second shooter or anything like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. So they timed the shot. He's up on the roof and pulls a trigger, and then there's another sound at the exact same time. But there's only one sound. I mean, it just really doesn't make sense at all. So here he is walking by the surveillance camera, making his way in. And, this is right around 11, we're getting close to 11:50-ish here. And as we've seen many times, he walks over here, he kind of stops, and then he turns around almost like he was contemplating not doing this or something. And then he turns around and crosses the grass. And then we know that when he turned right there, he walked over this bridge, went into the parking area here, and made his way to this tunnel. And then he walks through the tunnel, and he comes through and goes up a set of stairs in this direction and that direction, but it's below ground. And then he makes his way to right here and then comes out right there. And we'll show that right now. And that's a shot from inside the tunnel. I have another video that shows exactly where this is. There's a surveillance camera in that tunnel at the end of it. And then these are the stairs that you go up right at the end of the tunnel. You take a right and then go up these stairs. And then he goes up the stairs, and there's 3 different shots here. There's this one coming up the stairs. And in his pants, you can see the top of the cell phone right there. And he can bend his right knee a little bit. The rifle barrel goes to the knee joint so he can bend it. But the overall tightness in the pants make it pretty restrictive because there's a gun in there. It looks like maybe down there there's something poking out. And then he makes his way up the stairs. Let me just show you what he does. So after going through this tunnel underground here, he comes out right here and likely takes this route because it's not like a main road through campus. It ends right over here. So he walked this direction and then made his way up any one of these number of stairways here to over here. So this image right here is a ladder that is on the side of the building that investigators put up, and it shows right where he came down, and what we're looking at is right there. So anyways, Tyler Robinson heads this direction, goes through a door right there, and that's at 12:02. And then at 12:15, he's seen on camera, and that camera is the same camera, the 360-degree camera that's right here, right on top of that building, right there. And it films everything. So it's going to show Tyler Robinson go up onto the roof at 12:15, and then at 12:17 goes over this little wall here and crouches down and assembles his rifle. And he has a limp the whole time. But however, once he gets up from this position at 12:22, he moves over there and the limp is gone. That's because the rifle has been taken out of his pants and assembled, and he's moving with it. And then he makes his way over here and he fires at 12:23 and I think some odd seconds and kills Charlie Kirk. And let's take a look at the stage here. Looks like it's marked right in the center of this general area right here. Although, I mean, this pillar here you would think would be in the middle, but it isn't because this and this are not, it's not right in the middle. It's actually this one over here. So I'm just looking at this area here. But you can see where the tent is. And let's take a look at another image. So here, I mean, crazy, there's even these hats still there, sitting there to be thrown out to different people. But Charlie Kirk was sitting right here, pretty much underneath this little lightning bolt, or maybe even closer to the P right over there. And then we have this image. This is directly above, and that's a really useful image to add to Google Earth. So I've actually put it into Google Earth so you can see exactly where the tent was. There it is right there. And what you can do is, just to show you the accuracy of it, I'll blink it on and off. Look how everything's lined up, all of the different lines, and that's exactly where the tent is. So, Charlie Kirk was shot by the killer, Tyler Robinson, right here on this corner, and he was kind of moved over just where he had an angle, but not all the way to the edge. He was kind of like right here, and you can see there was still a shot that he had, and you would not hit the light pole people are talking about. There's a light pole in there, and it's right here. But to hit that would be a terrible shot. You'd be off by like 4 or 5 feet to the left. And so I don't know if that's something that the bullet hit. If it was yawing, it was so far off, hit that and just miraculously hit Charlie Kirk. I just think there's going to be an explanation of, the bullet. Maybe it was a soft point bullet. Maybe it was, it started yawing in the air because it wasn't the correct ammunition for the rifle. We don't know the answer to that question yet. But as we go through this, haven't we all just sort of noticed that none of the second shooter theories have held any water whatsoever? Now here's another image that was on the Reuters site right here. And we've seen this one before. And also, just take a look at this. Here's where he was crouched down. They have the exact angle of the shot. See the light pole here? Charlie Kirk was right over there. I mean, there's almost no way that somebody with a rifle aiming with a scope and everything is going to hit this light pole. It's way offline. That means the bullet would have hit over here somewhere, maybe right there in a straight line. But this is really lined up really well here. This is the angle he was lying at. Then we have this image that shows the marks on the roof where he was laying down. And then this is a shot from above where it shows where he was crouched down, maybe his elbows and knees into the gravel on the roof there. And then here's another shot. That shot was kind of confusing. I was trying to figure out what that was, but turns out that that is right here. If you go onto the roof and you kind of go right over to where he shot from and then go like that, that's right here, right? That's what we're looking at. And so you can see he was right there on the edge. He fired. And this is a video of Tyler Robinson on the roof.
Getting right up.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that.
Now, these guys are 160 yards away. So for him to go, oh, he's wearing camo, he's doing this, it's garbage. We've seen video of the person on the roof. This guy is mistaken. We see the video on the roof of Tyler Robinson running off the roof and climbing down with the rifle in his hand, wrapped in a black towel.
So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying?
So Candace Owens, again, is trying to say, oh, this guy talked to me, oh, he was wearing camo, he was a different kind of gun, etc. They're 160 yards away. They are not going to be able to see. Even zooming in on this, it makes it blurry, so they're not going to be able to see it. They could see him running, and they could see a silhouette. Maybe that's why they thought it was all black.
He just ran from over, where's my finger? Whoa, from over there, ran in, and now he's right there. Just saying, just getting right.
So I think after that, about 10 to 15, maybe even 20 seconds later, was the gunshot. So these guys probably kept the camera rolling. I wonder what else they might have on that camera. All right, so this is when Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk, and then he runs off the roof. I mean, it's just so crystal clear, everybody. I don't know why. Everybody thinks, Gray, you're just putting out the official narrative. And by the way, I'm getting sick of the word narrative. It's almost like, here's their narrative. It's a completely, fictional thing. They're just telling a different story. I think the people putting out narratives are the people on YouTube inventing things. The information we've seen has been factual information put out by law enforcement, video surveillance footage, text message exchanges between Tyler Robinson and the boyfriend, etc. All right, so let's move on to the next portion. Apparently that's him standing up. Now, I don't know if that's right before the shooting or just after, but I remember originally noticing the white area there, and he does have a white logo on his shirt. So we'll just play the video from here. And this is the video that I made. I stabilized it. You can see him running on the roof.
Yeah,
I slowed it down. And then here is Tyler Robinson running off the roof. So that's the same person. Now you can tell this person isn't wearing camouflage, but it's all black looking from a distance in the sun. It even looks like that on their video, but this isn't camouflage or anything like that. And then right in this area, he's about to jump off the roof here. You can see right now he swings up a long object wrapped in a black towel, jumps down. His glasses fall off. He picks up his glasses, and while he's running over here, he puts the glasses on with his left hand, tries to put it on his head, and then he runs across the grass over here. And then eventually he makes his way over to the street. All right, now there's another picture in the Reuters document where there's a photographers, investigators looking over at into the woods over here. You see this spot? So that seems like a logical place where they think maybe he went into the woods. Maybe they can see him on camera go into the woods there. We don't know exactly where he put the gun. We've seen images of cones, etc. out there. But this location, however, is right over here. It's actually right next to where I put gun found in woods originally. Just luck. So we go down to Street View here, and we're in October 2023. And if you look down here and compare this little line on the sidewalk there and the paint disruption, and you take a look at this picture right here, you can see, so you see right there, it's a little bit more worn, but that's right here, and this is right here. This little piece is here, and then we have the thick separation, and then we have this is matching that, etc. But this Street View is a year, almost 2 years ago, so there's extra worn spaces there, but that is the spot. And also notice the two different types of trees. We've got this type of tree here and that one, and then right there and there. So I think we have the right spot. So that means on Google Earth, they're looking where he went into this area right here. And maybe he did put the gun in a different location. And I wonder if earlier in the day when we see him walking like this, is this when he, went into the area that he scouted out and figured out where he was going to put the gun later, the drop point that he was talking about. So, after the shooting, that happened. Then he walks, somehow makes it over here, and we see some really grainy footage of who they believe is Tyler Robinson running back here, and then he runs right here. So I think what it means is his vehicle was parked somewhere up in this area right here, because he comes walking into the area originally like this, coming south on 800 South, and then he must be going back up that direction later, because you wouldn't want to walk a long ways with a rifle in your pants. All right, so this is new information right here. We found out that Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old accused of assassinating Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University earlier this month, made contact with a police officer near where investigators recovered the alleged murder weapon wrapped in a towel in the woods at the edge of campus, according to two law enforcement sources. Bo Mason, commissioner of the Utah Department of Public Safety, confirmed to Fox News that Robinson circled back to the campus to retrieve the rifle. So this matches exactly what was written to the boyfriend. Now, there's a lot of people that won't have heard this part because they watch about, a quarter of the video and they quit watching because it doesn't fit their narrative. So this is, I think, really important information here that the contents of that interaction were not prepared to reveal right now. So that's crazy, right? I mean, that means it's probably captured on body camera, or it could be that they took notes and described the encounter with Tyler Robinson. So again, the contents of that interaction were not prepared to reveal right now. That's part of the investigation and part of gathering more information. Mason said the interaction happened on September 10th, but much later in the evening after the sniper's bullet struck Kirk in the neck as he was engaging the audience during a speaking event sponsored by UVU chapter of his organization. The officer was guarding the perimeter after authorities placed the campus on lockdown, and the encounter appears to have thwarted the suspect's attempt to recover the Mauser 30-06 rifle prosecutors allege was used to kill Kirk. Mason added that investigators have been able to track Robinson's movements to local businesses and other places in and around the area. We know he visited a restaurant eatery or he made a purchase for food, just kind of a normal interaction. Kind of like Brian Koberger when he goes over to Clarkston, Washington, and just sort of drives around and, buys a coffee right after he killed 4 people. Yeah, and I think they're referring to the image that Candace Owens put out at the Dairy Queen. Yeah, so this information right here backs up information that was in the text exchange he had with Twiggs. In another message, Robinson allegedly wrote he was stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta get my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. You weren't the one who did it, right? The roommate texted back. I am. I'm sorry, Robinson allegedly replied. And then, I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude. They interrogated someone in similar clothing. Came another alleged reply from Robinson. I had planned to grab my rifle from the drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. So maybe that's the officer he encountered. Later in the conversation, he allegedly reiterated that he was looking for a chance to grab the rifle. There is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot. So I bet you at the very end he was like, I got to go try something. And then he encountered the officer and, just kind of slickly got out of it because he looked like just a regular student. Probably even had a conversation like, wow, what's going on? And he was trying to figure out if he had the ability to go get that rifle. And in another Fox News article, it says Robinson was on the loose for 33 hours after shooting and killing Kirk on September 10th at a Turning Point USA event on campus of Utah Valley University. What he did during that time frame largely remains a mystery, though Fox News Digital learned Thursday that he had an encounter with law enforcement near the campus at around 6:30 p.m. That's crazy. So did he go to the Dairy Queen after that? Which is odd because the Dairy Queen is heading in the opposite direction of heading home. And there's another Dairy Queen that's closer to, where he could be exiting onto the highways and heading back to where he lives. So, it's pretty interesting that right around 6:30, he is hovering still in the area. And I bet you he's on different surveillance footage cameras. As a matter of fact, that same 360-degree camera that we know is right here likely picked him up walking on the street over here talking to an officer. And it could even be back here, I guess, if there's an officer blocking the streets back in this area and keeping them from the woods. You know what I think law enforcement should have done was just had officers watching that location specifically and waiting for somebody to maybe come back and retrieve it. But do it clandestinely where you're just sort of surveilling the area, watching, because he would have went back and grabbed that gun. And we also know Tyler Robinson's DNA was on the trigger of the gun, on the gun itself. It was on a screwdriver that was found on the roof, and the towel and screwdriver found on the roof was likely used to assemble the 1906 Mauser 30-06 that Tyler Robinson used to kill Charlie Kirk. To me, this case is really simple, and I'm just out here trying to put out the real information. I know it's always interesting to come up with all these conspiracy theories and different stories and things because everybody wants it to be some bigger conspiracy instead of thinking that, man, there's crazy people out there that do crazy things, just like the guy who shot up the ICE facility in Dallas, Texas. It's crazy. All right, you guys, I want to say thank you for watching the video. Just realize that there are rational-minded people out there that think through things logically. Appreciate you watching. If you get that like button, share the video, and subscribe, that would be great. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.